Hi guys, welcome back to Speed Tribe. You guys have a huge collection of tools at your disposal now that you can use to be mentally strong. We'd love to continue this process and keep helping you out. Just let us know what we can do for you, and we're so happy to help you on your journey. Today though, we're going to talk about some mental sports injuries. Like, you've been playing sports before and rolled an ankle. Proper diagnosis and treatment can help you get back running pretty quick, but improper treatment can prolong the injury and stunt your growth. So there are also injuries to our brain. Now, I'm not talking literal like you fall on your head and have brain trauma, and not injuries in the way we think. And because we don't see them ourselves limping, they can be a lot harder to recognize. But there really are some mental strength injuries, so we're going to help you recognize them, diagnose them, and give you the treatment so you can return to full health. Let me start out one of these mental strength injuries with a story from our local high school. Local high school football game, we had a prospect at center. The kid was a beast. He'd started since he was a freshman, and everything looked good. Then almost at the end of the second quarter, he got rolled up on and broke his leg. Nasty injury, had to cart him off, backup came in. And the thing is, for the rest of the game, the backup balled out. He did great. In fact, in the locker room after the game, the coaches awarded him the green ball. Then after everybody else had went home, up in the press box, the head coach was talking to the video guy, and there was a knock at the door. The backup comes in with his uniform and pad and says, "I don't know how to say this, but I quit." "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I didn't ever want to play on Friday night. I don't want anybody to watch. I love playing on Thursday afternoon, but playing under the lights, people expect me to be capable. I chose to be center because I knew the starter was so good I would never have to play." Mental strength injury here. Or another time, a really talented sprinter. Usually he would do the 100 or 200 meters. That's one straightaway or half a lap. But one time he got put into the 4x400 relay. That's one lap around. And he ran the first leg and did great. And afterwards he asked his coach, "What was my time?" And he told him this time. He's like, "Oh." And he's like, "Well, what? That's a great time." He's like, "Dude, I just wanted to run fast enough not to look stupid, but not so fast I had to do it again." Now, this may seem crazy to you, but it's not that uncommon. It happens when we don't want to take the winning shot. We don't want to have the pressure. It's called fear of success, and it's our first mental strength injury today. You can diagnose it in yourself if you try to avoid competitive situations, if you let up during competition, or you have this narrow comfort zone or success, and you're just happy being mediocre and comfortable being number two, okay? That's how you see if you're struggling with this. What causes this fear of success? Well, either it's unrealistic expectations from others or from yourself, or you're afraid of the responsibility, or you're afraid that other people will be jealous of you or envious. Notice in all of these causes, they happen from looking outside of yourself. They're external motivation. So what's the cure? Well, it's really simple. You focus on things you can control. Don't worry about the big picture or anything like that. Focus on the task and process cues and do that. Anticipate what it will be like being number one, visualize it, and expand your comfort zone. Deliberately do uncomfortable things and work through the process. Okay, that's number one, fear of success. The other side of the coin, as you can imagine, is fear of failure. And this is something we've all experienced before. And we've all felt those butterflies in our stomachs and think, what if I lose? What if I botch it? I know a guy who has this girl he has the biggest crush on come to the game, and he sits on the bench the entire game. It feels so terrible. What will my parents think? What will other people think? And it's easy to get sucked into this external stuff, right? But anytime we get sucked into this external stuff, we lose the big picture. It can be because maybe our coaches or our parents give us conditional love, like they love us when we do good, but withdraw when we do poorly. Or it could be like all our identity is based on being successful at sports, or we've never really experienced failure before. And you can tell you have this if you start making excuses before you even start playing. I know a guy who every race he would get to, he's like, coach, I don't know if I'm going to do good. It's rainy. Or, coach, I don't know if I'm going to do good. It's hot. Like, he had an excuse for everything. Or when you're preoccupied with what other people think, what do my parents think? What do the other teammates think? Or with my reputation? Or when we're indecisive about a strategy or skill, or when we feel out of control. All of this comes from a fear of failure. So how do we treat this mental sports injury? It's going to sound like a broken record throughout all of this, but focus on the process and tasks. What are things that you can control, not on things that are out of your control? The more you focus on things that are within your control, the more confidence you're going to have. The next two mental sports injuries we're going to talk about are two sides of another coin. One is called learned helplessness, and the other is called underachievement. Let's talk about this idea of learned helplessness. The term's coined from a pretty messed up psychological experiment. They took dogs, shocked the floor, and to get away, the dog just had to jump over a small fence. It was easy. But when they made it so that the dog couldn't jump over the fence, I told you it was messed up, man. In fact, the guy doing the study afterwards was like, this sucks, I'm not studying this sort of stuff anymore, and went on to study positive things. But anyways, after the dog couldn't jump over the fence, it just gave up. It just learned how to lay down there and take it and be helpless. It's called learned helplessness. So even when they removed the restraints, the dog still wouldn't jump over the fence. It just laid there and quivered. Messed up study. But this happens in sports, both individuals and on teams. We have a local sports team here, and I don't think they've had a winning football season in 20 years, maybe more. It's not like they don't have talented kids or good coaches. It's this sense of learned helplessness. They don't know how to win. And this can be caused just by losing often, no matter what you do. The first baseball team I played on, coached by my dad, and we were terrible. I didn't even get up to bat one game. Now, fortunately, I played on some better teams after that, but if that kept going, I can see how you can just learn helplessness. Or when you're always playing against unfair opponents, or when you're kind of a late bloomer, you don't get to be big like the others soon, you kind of learn like, I'm not as good. And so you can see if this is something you're experiencing if you give low effort, or you always talk about how the other team has unfair skills, or you give up easy, or you expect to lose, okay? Notice the external motivation. It's all about the other team. It's all about their fault. So the cure is no surprise. Focus on the tasks and processes. Focus on your performance, chart it, measure your performance against yourself, develop short-term goals, measure those small successes, and you're going to start to believe that you earned the success and you'll overcome this learned helplessness. On the other side of the coin, where learned helpless learn that even if they try hard, they lose. Underachievers learn that they don't even have to try and they win. These are some of the naturally gifted, talented individuals, those that early mature and get big soon, and so they don't try very hard, and so they don't reach their potential. And you can see if this is something you're struggling with, if you're lazy or you're not really caring about reaching goals. You live in the past. Remember Uncle Rico? If only coach would put me in, I'd win that. Like you're always thinking about, that last win. And so you're unprepared, and this negative attitude can help bring down the rest of your team. Again, looking out, comparing with other people. The cure, you guessed it. Focus on the task and processes. Get better individually no matter what others are doing. Set difficult goals for you, measure your success, and move forward. Focus on strengthening others and strengthening the team. The final mental strength injury we're going to focus on is called pathological perfectionism. It's something you've felt before. You win, but you don't feel like you did enough. This happened to me all the time in running. It's a weird sport because much of what you do is based on how much pain you can tolerate. And that's it. I would run until I vomited, but afterwards I'd still think, I could have done more. I had so much more in me. This can lead to overtraining and dissatisfaction, guilt, and burnout. I have a friend who was going to run the final relay race at a state meet, and he had a race, and so they put in a sub for the initial relay, and the sub choked and didn't make it. And my friend put on a big show of how disappointed he was, but he's like, truthfully, I was relieved. I spent so much time being perfect and feeling guilty for not being perfect that I didn't want to run anymore. In fact, he didn't even run for a whole other year after this. Why? Because he's focused outside, right? This external orientation, this external motivation. Maybe it's because you're close to others who really put a lot into this sport. Maybe it's because you see so much of your own identity tied up into performance. But again, the cure is to focus on the process. See how you are growing, and don't worry so much about that outcome. Bring it back to the little measurable things. Positive outcomes are a result on focusing on the little tasks, deliberately practicing them and doing them well. Trust the process. I know it sounds cliche, but it's great. If you just trust, you have more fun. Not too long ago, I went on a zip line tour in the Pacific Northwest, and you're strapped into these 5-point harnesses. They put you in at multiple points. You're so safe. They make it a point to be super safe. They're like, you can completely trust these harnesses. Now, some people were like way nervous about the harnesses, and they were just shimmying off the platform basically. But I was like, what if I actually trusted the harness? So I said, hey, can I do a trust fall? He's like, yeah, man, go for it. So I turned around, crossed my arms, and I just fell back into the free fall. And it was so fun. And the harness caught me. It was perfect. What I'm saying is that if you'll trust this process that we're teaching you here at Speed Tribe, it works. Okay? So your big dream huge. But then focus on the tasks and the processes and that you'll need to get there. Every day, just focus your energy on that challenge of growing and learning and becoming better. It's something that will lead to a more fulfilling life and lead to more success in sports and other areas of your life. It works. I can promise you success if you take the work and do it. We'd love to help you out in this process. We'd love to support you. We're here for you. We got your back. Good things are going to happen. Okay? I'll see you around.